Start the meeting. If everyone can please take their seat. I'm going to ask the town clerk to do the roll call, please.
David Becker. Michael Hurley. Here. Gaylord Meyer. Here. Carolyn Richmond. Here. Eric Sunman. Here. Pete Ambrose. Amy Jennings. Here. John Matola. Jeff Steele.
Here.
Keith Varian. Ed Bateson. Here. Tom Conley. Here. Hank Ferentz. Here. Dave McKenzie. Here. Mary McCullough. Heather Dean. Joe DiMartino. Here. Art Hug. Here. Amy Mezoff. Joe Palmer. Here. Matt Ambrose. Here. Josh Garskoff. Here. Chris McAleese. Yep. Ruth Smay. Ann Stamler. Here. Chris Brogan. Here. Lenora Campbell. Julie Gottlieb. Here. Sheila Marmion. Here. Jay Wolk. Jen Hochberg. Here. Kevin Hopkins. Here. Eric Newman. Here. Mark Patton. Here. Hal Schwartz. Here. Kathy Braun. Here. Dana Carey. Alan Marks. Here. Tom McCarthy. Jeff Stopa. Here. Bill D'Amica. Here. Joe Fellner. Ellen Jacob. Here. Nick Marabli. Present. Carol Pontrelli. Here. Lee Hannum. Here. Ken Lee. Here. Bruce Ryan. Here. Carol Way. Here. Mr. Lee, do you have an announcement to make? Is Joe Palmer here?
Good evening. I'd just like to introduce a new District 10 member who's elected since our last meeting, Mr. Charles Abercrombie.
Chuck Abercrombie.
Here.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Abercrombie, and welcome to the RTM. I also noticed that Representatives Patton and Newman decided to sit next to each other again. Challenging me yet again. Okay. I'm up to the challenge. At this point, I'd like to ask Olivia Morrison and Daniel Scher to please come up to the podium. It always amazes me when you hear or read about the impressive accomplishments of some of the kids in our school system. And then you hear about the valedictorians of each senior high school class and what they've already accomplished. I can't help but think to myself that I should have done more when I read their resumes. Olivia graduated from Fairfield Ludlow High School's class of 2012 and is that class's valedictorian. She's a National Merit Scholar as well as an IBM Scholar. Olivia earned membership in the National Honor Society, the Mathematics Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, if I pronounce that correctly, and the Science Honor Society. In addition to her academic achievements, Olivia has been co-president of the American Field Service Club, treasurer of the Spanish Club, member of the Mock Trial Club, and captain of Ludlow's team in the MSG Network's quiz show, The Challenge, which is a televised academic game show against high schools in the tri-state area. Olivia is also a talented violinist, having performed with Ludlow's orchestra and volunteered to teach violin to fourth grade students. She's been in Girl Scouts, and she is a recipient of the Daughters of the American Revolution's local chapter Good Citizen Award. Olivia plans to attend Dartmouth College in the fall. Daniel Scher graduated from Fairfield Ward High School's class of 2012. Daniel is also a National Merit Scholar and has received Fairfield Ward High School Scholar Awards in a range of academic subjects, along with honors in advanced placement courses, membership in the National Honor Society, the Mu Alpha Theta Mathematics Honor Society, and Spanish Honor Society, and he even attends classes on astrophysics at Columbia University. Daniel is the founder and president of H2 Africa, an organization formed to further African progress towards self-reliance. Like Olivia, Daniel participated in the mock trial group, having served as captain of the team in his senior year, and also competed in the Challenge Quiz Show. Daniel has volunteered for the Jewish Home for the Elderly, was selected to the Fairfield Town Youth Council, which helps create health awareness campaigns against tobacco and alcohol abuse, and has been a soccer referee in town for the last 4 years. As if that is not enough, on the extracurricular front, Daniel has been involved in cross-country, track, tennis, and soccer, has performed in theater, and is a member of the Backpacking Club. Daniel will be going to the University of Pennsylvania in the fall. Wow. Some wonder what our tax dollars that go to the education budget are doing. Well, here's your answer. They're helping to create opportunities for students like these two scholars. I think I could speak for this body to say we're all very, very proud of you both. And we'd like you to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is right over there, and you can go ahead and lead us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could also just stay standing for a moment of silence. As we do, please put Amy Mezoff in your thoughts, as she was involved in a car accident last week in which she received a concussion and was shaken up. She is fine. She's still recovering, and I just want everyone to have their thoughts with her. Thank you. And again, congratulations, Daniel and Olivia. Just a tremendous achievement, and you have a huge, bright future ahead of you, so great job. Thanks again. Thank you. Good luck to you both. Good luck. Good luck. Thanks. The next item is number 2, to consider and act upon the minutes of the annual budget meeting held on May 7th, 2012, and May 8th, 2012, and the regular monthly meeting held on May 21st, 2012. Are there any proposed amendments or revisions to any of these minutes from the body? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes? Can I do this collectively, all of them at once, I assume? Representative Hochberg, a second. Representative Dean. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The minutes carry. Passing the minutes. Next is the consent calendar. This month, I can go with consent now, right? This month only one item is on consent, item number 9. I'll read it quickly. To hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Resolved that in accordance with a request from the Director of Solid Waste and Recycling, the Town of Fairfield's participation in Haz Waste Central Regional Household Hazardous Waste Collection Center during the period of July 1st, 2011 through June 30th, 2014, be and hereby is approved, and further resolved that First Selectman Michael C. Tetro be and hereby is authorized to enter into an agreement with South Central Connecticut Regional Water Authority for operation of this facility. Does any member wish to divide the consent calendar? Okay, therefore, we'll vote on this. All those in favor of the consent calendar say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The item passes. Moving on to item number 3, to receive the assessor's report on the tax relief for the elderly program as required under Chapter 95, Article 3, Section 15.1 of the Code of the Town of Fairfield. Presenting tonight is Don Ross, and if you want, you can speak here. You can go over there, whatever's comfortable. Great. Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Jeff. Good evening, everybody. This this coming fiscal year, our tax relief for the elderly will come at a cost to the town, elderly and disabled, will come at a cost to the town of $3,157,125. That represents an approximately 3.4% decrease over last year, approximately $110,841 decrease over last year. We had, just to run through the statistics very quickly, we had a total of 1,578 accounts, people who are receiving, disabled and elderly people who are receiving tax credits on the upcoming tax bills coming out this week, I believe. We have a total of 1,554 accounts receiving the town tax credit, 8 accounts receiving town tax freeze, 16 accounts receiving the town tax deferral, for a total of 1,578 accounts. 159 new applications, 28 applications came in. People were disallowed for either being over income on all the programs. 92 people were removed, again, through application. They either sold their properties, died, or they moved. 81 people were removed as a result of failure to refile. We had a net loss of accounts from last fiscal year of 42 accounts. So that's it.
Okay. I didn't know if there was more or not.
Questions, I guess?
Yeah, sure. We'll open it up. If anyone has any questions, they're welcome to ask right now. Mr. Ross is here to take questions. Okay. I think that's it. Everyone's satisfied.
Okay.
Yep. Mr. Ross, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming. No. Who's doing Item number 4 is to receive a report from the Affordable Housing Committee. I believe Mr. Barnhart, Mark Barnhart, is here to give that report. That's fine. You come over here. Now's your opportunity. Please take it. My pleasure.
Mr. Moderator. Hi, I'm Lisa Windham from the Affordable Housing Committee. Our chairman, Steve Grathwell, wasn't able to come tonight, so he asked me to just present the report on his behalf. I believe the moderator emailed a copy of our report this year out to all members before tonight's meeting. The only thing I did want to point out that's new this year is that our report does include an inventory of our assisted and affordable housing here in town and a map of where that housing is located. So if you have any questions, either Mr. Barnhart or I can answer them.
Are there any questions on this report? Yes, Representative Stamler. Yes.
Stay here. Ann Stamler, District 5. This is just an information question. On the map, there are yellow stars for ownership superimposed over red houses for elderly disabled. Do I read that correctly, that there are 3 homes for the elderly and disabled that are owned by their residents, and that's all?
We also provided a list on the next page, which provides a list of the developments by category. There are a couple of developments that have both elderly units, elderly rental units, as well as ownership units. Durrell Drive and Umpqua is both elderly rental as well as ownership units. Is that clear?
I did read the explanation. So in other words, the number of stars does not indicate the number of...
Sorry. Yes, that is correct.
Any other questions from the body? Looks like that's it. Okay. We are now moving on to item number... By the way, thank you, Mr. Barnhart and Lisa. Item number 5, to consider and act upon the following appointments to the Ethics Commission as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Thomas J. Drew, Democrat, 151 Blue Ridge Road, term July 2011 to 2013. David P. Schmidt, Republican, 61 Partridge Lane, term July 2011 to 2013. This item was referred to all standing committees, and I will now go over the committee votes. I am going to go over them separately because the items were divided in a couple of committees. So we're going to start with Mr. Drew. LNA, 8 members were present. Representatives DiMartino and Varian were absent. The vote was all 8 in favor. Finance, all 10 members were present. Vote was all 10 in favor. Public Works and Planning, 6 members were present. Representatives Palmer, Stopa, Carey, and Newman were absent. Vote was all 6 in favor. By the way, if I'm ever wrong on who's absent, just tell me. I'm going off the committee reports. Public Health and Safety, 9 members were present. Representative Smay was absent. Both members were voted on together in that committee and approved 8-0-1 with Representative Hugg abstaining. Education and Recreation, vote was taken to vote on candidates separately as well. Again, 7 members were present. Representatives Campbell, Mirabile, and Schwartz were absent. Vote was all 7 in favor. Now I'll go over the committee votes of Mr. Schmidt. LNA, no vote was taken. Finance, all 10 abstained. Public Works and Planning, vote was all 6 in favor. Public Health and Safety, as mentioned, he was approved 7-0-1 as they voted on both at once. And Education and Recreation, vote was 3 in favor. Representatives Patton, Jennings, and Way, 0 opposed and 4 abstentions. As we have discussed before, we do like all appointments to come before any and all committees that they're referred to. If they're not able to attend, we understand that. Many things get in the way, and therefore we do ask them to come to the full meeting, as Mr. Schmidt has decided to do, and he is here. So as we go to discussion on these, I just want to bear in mind that he is here if anyone has any questions. So I'm going to open it now to the body if there's any discussion on these 2 members. Representative Richmond.
Carolyn Richmond, District 1. In our Education and Recreation Committee, unfortunately, Dr. Schmidt wasn't able to attend, and so I would like to ask him just briefly to tell us why he would like to serve on this Ethics Committee.
Thank you for your question. I've spent my life professionally and personally engaged in the study of ethics. It's important to me. I'm a professor of ethics at Fairfield University, so I would hope my training and background might bring some value to this opportunity. I also believe very much in the importance of public service, so when I learned about this opportunity, I was eager to respond.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I also want to mention Mr. Drew is here as well, in case anyone has questions. But anyways, I will go back to the body. Any other questions or comments on? I do need a motion. Representative Garskoff. Thank you. A second. Representative Mirabile. I don't know how I missed that. In any case, any further discussion among the body? Okay, hearing none. The public? Anyone from the public? Okay. So we're now going to vote on this item, number 5, on Mr. Drew and Mr. Schmidt being appointed to Ethics Commission. We're going to do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Drew, Mr. Schmidt. We wish you luck. Thank you for serving. We'll now go to item number 6, to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Resolved that the Town of Fairfield, 1, establish the Fairfield Ward High School Roof Building Committee. 2, authorize the preparation of schematic drawings and other specifications for this project. And 3, authorize the Fairfield Ward High School Roof Building Committee to file an application for a school building grant. This item has been referred to all standing committees. which, by the way, will be the way we are going to do this for some time. All items to be referred to all items referred to all committees, at least in the near future. That being said, may I have a motion to approve? Representative Schwartz, second Representative Brogan. I'll now go over committee votes. L&A, vote was 7 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention, Representative Braun. Finance, vote was all 10 in favor. Public Works and Planning, vote was all 6 in favor. Public Health and Safety, vote was all 9 in favor. Education and Recreation, vote was 6 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, Representative McCullough. We'll now have discussion among the body. Representative Jacob.
Ellen Jacob, District 9, and I guess I sound like a broken record about this. It's terribly important, though. When we voted for the original bond appropriation for this ward roof, and in committee and right now, I do think it's very important for the materials to be tested, to include testing for mold. The 186 roof leaks, and the last testing, I believe, was done in 2005. We don't want to put a beautiful, clean roof over an old problem. So please, for the sake, ethically, and the responsibility is ours to make sure people are safe in that building, that it's a good, clean school, the teachers, the students, and everyone going in and out of it are protected. So please make it part of the responsibility of this committee to do the mold testing before and to remediate. It'll cost us less in the long run, and I think we'll all feel good about it. Thank you.
Any other members? Okay, any members of the public on this item? Okay, hearing none, we will now go to vote on item number 6. We'll do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Raise your hand if you're opposed. Abstentions? Is that an opposed or abstention? Abstention, Representative McCullough. Item passes. Just as a sidebar, you all probably have the new, latest, and greatest edition of the Officials, Boards, and Commissions book, which came out of the town clerk's office. I guess this is fresh off the press. All right, so thank you for doing that. That's very appreciated. It will also be posted on the website soon. All right, we're going to move on to item number 7 to hear, consider, and act upon the following appointments to the Fairfield Ward High School Roof Building Committee as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Saul Bricks, Republican, 785 Churchill Road. Jerome Demner, Democrat, 70 Gatorage Road. Walter J. Donnie, I'm sorry if I mispronounced, Donnie, unaffiliated, 54 Cedarhurst Lane. Douglas A. Jones, Democrat, 1304 Fairfield Woods Road. Michael Money, unaffiliated, 401 Fairfield Woods Road. Malcolm J. Rowe, unaffiliated, 100 Arbor Drive. This item was referred to all standing committees. May I have a motion to approve? Representative Ambrose, the second. Representative Stopa. I'll now go over committee votes. L&A, vote was 7 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention. Representative Braun. Finance, vote was all 10 in favor. Public Works and Planning, vote was all 6 in favor. Public Health and Safety, vote was all 9 in favor. Education and Recreation chose to separate Mr. Bricks and Donnie in their vote. The vote to accept the other 4 was 7 in favor. Vote on Mr. Bricks and Mr. Donnie was 1 in favor. Representative Patton. 0 against, and 6 opposed. We'll now have discussion. Abstaining. Abstaining. We'll now go to the body for discussion. No discussion. Okay. We'll now go to the public. Oh, you guys are easy tonight. All right. I went to public. We're kind of done on the comments. So we're now going to vote on this item, item number 7. Voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? Representative Meyer, Representative McCullough. Congratulations, members. I don't know if any or all are here, but raise your hand if you are on this committee. Stand up, please, actually. Congratulations. Thank you. We'll now go to item number 8, which is to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Resolved that First Selectman Michael C. Tetreault be and hereby is authorized to sign the agreement entitled Agreement Between the State of Connecticut and the Town of Fairfield for the Development of Contract Plans, Specifications, and Estimates in conjunction with the rehabilitation of the Valley Road Bridge, bridge number 04956 over Horse Tavern Brook, utilizing federal funds from the Highway Bridge Program. This item was referred to all standing committees. May I have a motion to approve? Representative Hopkins, Representative Marks, second. And we'll now have, actually I'll go over committee votes first. L&A vote was all 8 abstained. Finance vote was all 10 in favor. Public Works and Planning vote was all 6 in favor. Public Health and Safety vote was all 9 in favor. Education Recreation vote was all 7 in favor. So now we're going to have discussion among the body on item number 8. Representative Jacob.
I want to be sure I understand some things about this bridge, especially since it's the third one here this year. In January, we approved $961,400 for bonding to replace the Merritt Street Bridge. We also approved $225,000 in bonding to pay for cost overruns on the Harbor Road Bridge. And this is a third bridge, so it's a lot of bridges. As I understood the information we were given, and if I'm wrong, please somebody correct me, it will cost us an estimated $185,000 for the preliminary engineering plans. Of that, $148,000 is estimated to be reimbursed by the federal government. So we will pay the bills, we'll need the bonding to pay the bills, and we'll pay interest on the bonding. We will hopefully get paid back eventually. But meanwhile, we have to finance it until we get reimbursed. So I think that's right. I have a question to Mr. Tetreault through you, Mr. Moderator. I think we're close enough here. Does the scope of this contract that we're being asked to approve, does it go beyond the preliminary planning and the financing for that to a further commitment to execution or construction within a certain time limit of the plans? That's the first question.
Is this a question for you or Mr. White? Rich, probably a question for you.
Oh.
Yeah, what's before you is just a commitment for the preliminary engineering for the $185,000. When that's completed, the assumption is that we would move to final design and bring back before you another agreement, funding agreement, to be approved for that. And then the final, again, the normal course of action is the third step would be construction, and we'd be coming back before the board for with a funding agreement to do the construction costs.
So it's separate agreements and separate commitments. They're not linked in any way? Okay, that's helpful, thank you. There is also a kind of troubling phrase in the agreement, page 5, paragraph 15. It says that the state, I'm quoting, the state on written notice may suspend, postpone, abandon, or terminate this agreement, and such action shall in no event be deemed a breach of contract. And then it gives some reasons that the state might do this. Quote, such suspension, postponement, abandonment, or termination may come about for the convenience of the state, so I'm not sure what that means. And then it does list some other circumstances. So that, I'm not sure whom to ask this of, but that doesn't sound like a good deal for us. I mean, ostensibly we could do it, pay for it, and the whole thing gets canned.
Mr. White, do you want to comment on that, or, I mean, based on past experience with these things?
Yeah, just to go back and correct the record, what's been before the board is a request for the funding for the Merritt Street Bridge. The 225 that you mentioned that was, I think, in the non-recurring part of the capital for the Harbor Road Bridge wasn't brought to your attention. That's still going to come back as an item.
Is that microphone on? Is it? Okay.
Okay. The language in these contracts always protects the grantor. Our experience with them to date has been favorable, but our choices are, if we don't sign the agreement, we definitely don't get any money. If we do sign the agreement, it does have that language in it, but our experience has been that they have not reneged on their funding. So, I don't know. I can't comment any further than that, really.
Thank you. Stay here one more. Oh.
And Mr. White, would you just clarify where these bridges rank on the inspection reports that have been brought to our attention?
Right, they're ranked poor, so that's why we're moving on them.
So, and my point there being that these are bridges that we're going to have to fix because we don't want anybody getting killed when they go down. So these are safety issues for the town. We're addressing them now before it's a big problem. So it's money we're going to have to spend one way or the other.
I guess part of my concern is when we spend it, because our bonding bills, our bond service is getting, and we've got all kinds of school projects, window repairs, roof redoings, facade repairs. Our bonding for this coming fiscal year was estimated to be $25,904,995. That's a big chunk of our budget. So wondering if this can be postponed. It didn't seem an emergency, I believe. Was that the statement that you made, that it could take 2 years? It could be something we start now and do in a couple of years, but it's not an emergency?
My recommendation is we move on it. The nature of bridges, when they deteriorate, and the state has an excellent program. since the Mayanas Bridge went down in Greenwich, they've really been very diligent in hiring new staff and outside consultants to review every single bridge with a lot of different facets and a matrix for rating the bridge in terms of its safety. And I just feel, from my experience and knowledge of it, that once they reach poor, we need to move on the design, et cetera, to replace it. And the nature of a bridge, in terms of its failure, is that things start to go south structurally. The scouring underneath the bridge starts to, the abutments start to get undermined. They're picking up stress cracks in the underneath of the bridge where the rebars are, et cetera. So they're seeing the evidence of the bridge moving in the wrong direction. The nature of these failures are that all of a sudden things start to accelerate after a certain point. If the bridge gets stressed in a bad winter or for whatever reason, a truck goes over that's too heavy for the bridge, whatever. It's just very prudent, in my opinion, that when the bridge is rated poor by the state, because they do very good detailed inspections, that we should move to replace it.
Thank you.
Rich, can you just stay up there? Because I want to follow. No, Rich, you can give the microphone to Rich. You mentioned 3 stages, right? 3 contracts?
Yes.
$37,000 for this first one.
Yes.
What are the costs for phase 2 or phase 3 or contract 2, contract 3?
Right. So, since I presented this to the subcommittees last week, I checked with the engineer that outside consulting engineer that's working on the bridge to get his best estimates for the costs that we're looking at. I gave you high numbers the other night. They were a little more conservative, but the total construction cost is estimated at $1,600,000. The design costs typically run about 15% of that, and that brings us to about $240,000. This preliminary engineering would take us $185,000 into the design, leaving roughly $55,000 that I or someone else will be coming back and asking for to finish up the design. And then, as I mentioned, the construction cost is $1.6 million. So if you take the $1.6 million construction cost, all the design, $240,000, all in were $1,840,000, and 20% of that would be local share of $368,000, with the federal grant picking up the 80%.
And again, phase 2 and phase 3, or contract 2, contract 3, when would they come before us? Ballpark dates?
Yeah, roughly we're figuring it'll take 6 to 8 months at the most for this preliminary engineering, and then coming back for the final design, which would only be another 4 to 6 months at the most, and then construction would take less than a year.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hurley, Representative Hurley.
Michael Hurley, District 1, through you, Mr. Moderator, to Rich White. Just one question. I should have asked it during the committee meeting. Could you just define what the different grades are for the bridges? Is it poor, good, excellent?
There's, again, each category, which is basically what you said, poor, good, and excellent. Excellent's brand new. Good is a bridge that's probably somewhere in its middle of its useful life, or out there at 30 years or so, and hasn't had any defects in it. But then when they get to poor, they become much more complex in the terms of how they start to look at them and analyze each different component of the bridge, the surface of the bridge, you don't worry that much about it, how much it's scoured underneath, the abutments that literally hold up the bridge, the deck itself, how that is functioning. Each one of those they give a number to, from 0 to 5, and 5 being excellent, 0 being complete failure. And then they come up with a combination of those numbers to say it's in the poor category. But you have to look at the numbers carefully to understand that these aren't just things you shouldn't worry about too much. When we look at them and they're in the poor category and really take a look at what they're concerned with, on this one we're also concerned with the items that they point out. Again, the scouring, problems with the deck itself, those are real structural issues.
Representative Mirabili.
Nick Mirabili, District 9. I mean, if the state came in and rated this as poor, and the state's picking up the tab, or picking up 80% of it, I think this is something we have to move on. I'm not a fan of excessive bonding, certainly not for the obvious reasons, and I don't even like the argument that it's a good time to bond because rates are low. But when it comes to our infrastructure, and the state's come in and expected this with engineers, I don't think we should, willy-nilly waive something because it seems to be expensive. When the state's picking up 80% of it, and the state has told us it has to be done. I mean, I don't like to spend money. Everybody knows that, but this is a safety issue. I understand Ellen's concerns. You know, there's a little bit of interest on money until we get reimbursed. I think that's minor. The state could pull out of the agreement. I think that these contracts obviously do favor the state because they're funding it. If they don't have a history of doing that, I don't think we should be concerned about it. I'm more concerned with the safety. Thank you.
Representative Bateson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ed Bateson, District 3. Through you to Rich White. Rich, quick thing. Coming up to the bridge, are there sidewalks approaching it?
Yes, there's a sidewalk on one side.
On the plan, is the plan for the bridge, is there going to be adequate space for pedestrian traffic?
There's definitely enough space for that one sidewalk. I don't know if we have enough right-of-way to accommodate a second sidewalk on the other side, but that's part of doing the surveying and the preliminary engineering work to determine that.
Okay, thank you. To Representative Conley, where are you? I'm a firm believer. You brought this up a couple months ago when we built that other bridge, and I've been thinking about it over the past couple months. I like the fact we're going to invest the money in these bridges, that they should accommodate pedestrians, that, especially if there's sidewalks leading up to it. So I strongly encourage that. I mean, even to the point if we have to elevate it, curb it, so that pedestrians know that it's for them, not just, a fog line or something along that. Okay? Thank you.
I have another question, Mr. White. How long, is there a certain time frame beyond which reimbursement is impossible, or is that kind of open-ended time?
In other words, if we didn't act on it, is there?
In other words, do we have a certain deadline in terms of when we have to act on it in order to get state reimbursement? Are they saying it needs to be done in the next month, the next 10 months?
The way this occurred was that the bridge got downgraded to poor 3 years ago, and that's why I put the money in the budget. And we've been watching the reports to make sure things didn't get really drastically worse, and waiting till it floated up to their priority list high enough so that it would enter into a funding agreement. Once we get it to this point, we're kind of excited to move on it, and they're sending us correspondence saying that they want this back in a month or so. So that's the best I can say.
So they haven't set a deadline, in other words? They have not set a deadline?
No.
Okay.
No, but I do honestly want to convey that when they reach this point and it finally gets up to a point of priority, there is a sense of urgency on their, sense of urgency on their part for the communities to execute them, because we're obviously competing with 169 other communities for these projects.
Okay. Any other members? All right, well, I'm going to say something. I'll give the microphone over to Deputy Moderator Ferentz. I recommend we approve this. I think this body's trying to save money where we can, which is good, and we went through the whole budget process. Now we're talking about infrastructure. I don't think we should be in the business of saying when infrastructure should be done and if infrastructure should be done, especially something that comes down to safety and roads. I'd hate to see anything accidental happen or anything like that. And we have to also look at preventative maintenance, look at our roofs and all of our other buildings. We constantly talk about things that are done after the fact. And boy, if we had just done it earlier on, we could have prevented this, called preventative maintenance. And I think this is another case in point. And we get 80% back. I mean, it just sounds ridiculous not to approve it. Ridiculous. And I don't know what postponing it's going to do. It's my opinion. Mr. Ferentz, you can take over.
All right, anybody else? Representative Richmond.
Carolyn Richmond, District 1. A thought occurred to me that has happened in the past is that when we've had a situation with the state with any contract, that we've had some very good state representatives and our state senator who has gone to bat for us to get funding when things didn't quite go that way. And I think, thinking of that if there was a concern about the contract in terms of the state not living up to it or deciding to not reimburse us fully, I think that's where we have to depend upon our state representatives and our state senator to help us, because they have done that in the past, and I think they will always fight for us here in Fairfield. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on this issue? Seeing none, any members of the public wish to speak on this? Seeing none, back to the body. Any second thoughts? All right, and we will vote. We'll vote on this issue. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 1, 2. 2 opposed. Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes. Thank you.
Nice job, Hank. Now we go on to item number 10, to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Finance. Resolved that in accordance with a request from the Director of Public Works for an appropriation of $210,000 from the Water Pollution Control Authority, WPCA, reserve fund to provide the town's local share for an energy reduction project at the treatment plant, and further resolved that the First Selectman is authorized to execute any necessary agreements with the United Illuminating Company to obtain grants and interest-free loans related to the project. This item was referred to all standing committees. May I have a motion to approve? Representative Fellon or Representative, is that Smay over there? I couldn't tell if it was Hug or Smay raising their hand. Second, Representative Smay. We're now going to go over committee reports. L&A vote was 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 4 abstentions, being Representatives Becker, Bateson, Braun, and Stamler. Finance vote was 7 in favor, 0 against, and 3 abstentions, Representatives Ambrose, McKenzie, and Jacob. Public Works and Planning vote was all 6 in favor. Public Health and Safety vote was all 9 in favor. Education and Recreation vote was all 7 in favor. And we'll now have discussion among the body on item 10. Wow, we're going for a record night. Any discussion among the public? Okay. We're now going to go for a vote on item number 10. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The item passes. Item number 11, to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Finance. Resolved that the bond appropriation entitled, "A Resolution Appropriating $250,000 for the costs associated with the improvement and renovation of Riverfield Elementary School and authorizing the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, consisting of 3 pages, be and hereby is approved." Referred to all standing committees. May I have a motion to approve this item? Representative McAleese, a second. Look at this, Representative Patton. All right, listen, I knew you were going to throw it in there somewhere. I'm now going to go over committee votes. L&A. Vote was 6 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 abstentions. Representatives Bateson and Braun. Finance vote was all 10 in favor. Public Works and Planning vote was 5 in favor, 0 against, 1 abstention. Representative Mezoff. Public Health and Safety vote was all 9 in favor. Education and Recreation, 6 members in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention. Representative McCullough. We'll now go to discussion among the body on item number 11, Riverfield. Well, you're all tired out already. Any discussion? Representative Stamler.
I support this. I believe it's an excellent proposal. Just a technical question. Do we need to amend the motion to strike the duplicated phrase, director of, director of? I don't know if we even need to, but since it's in writing and it's part of the record.
And you notice I didn't read it that way, except that was my own typo.
I know, but it's there.
Is it necessary to do that? Yeah, I
Ask
guess.
the town
I
clerk,
guess.
Is it necessary?
What's that?
No. This is WPCA. We haven't voted on it. Have we? No. No. We voted on hazardous waste. We voted on hazardous waste. Oh, that's on, I missed the being on consent. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, then I guess we don't have to amend it.
Okay. It's all right. Representative Mirabile, you had your hand up. Do you want to discuss this?
Nick Mirabile, District 9. I just wanted to say I support this. This is my district. The family's been patient. Riverfield has been in rough shape for a long time. It is overcrowded. You'll see in the notes there the rationale for the project that the enrollment has grown to 4,874 students. That's like a 17% increase just in the past decade. So in addition to the getting rid of the portable classroom. Can you repeat all that? Yeah. I think this is on, but I have to eat the mic like a rock star. Okay, so, basically the enrollment's grown by 17% in the past decade. So in addition to getting rid of the portable classrooms, or the portables outside, it's just, the school's somewhat dysfunctional. There was an extension put on years ago. I lost it again. And in addition to that, it just needs the building code. You'll see it on the fire code requirements. And it's also the core facilities. So there are other additions that school needs in addition to just the classroom space. So I support this. I would ask all of you to support this. This is the initial kickoff, $250,000 to get started. Thank you.
In the meantime, are there other members who'd like to discuss this item? Representative Ambrose, you're going to be next when he gets a battery in. Or if you want, you can come up here. Why don't you just come up here? Oh,
That's fine.
that's a good point.
Peter Ambrose, District 2. One of the presenters.
You got to hold off. You said there is a video here or not?
Thank you. Christine Messina, who was one of the presenters that brought this matter before our committee, indicated that one of the jobs of the building committee is to bring the educational specs to deliver them. And my question to Christine or to Tom is, are the building specs, are they state mandated? And do they differ from, is there a lot of variance within them? That is, do we have to maintain the same standards that Bridgeport has, or Ansonia, or Derby has? And how much leeway is there?
I think to answer that question, I'll call on somebody from the Education Department. Okay, they made up the specs. Sal or Tom?
Sir, can you identify yourself?
I'm Tom Quinn. I'm the chairman of the Riverfield School Renovation Committee. Sal?
Sal Morbido, Manager Construction for Board of Education. The ed specs are required as part of state reimbursement. They're developed locally for the program at our school. Defines the number of teaching spaces we need. There's certain facility standards that we have within the district as far as locking mechanisms, how we use our fuel, different things like that. But it's not mandated on us. It's the program we need at that school for the enrollment that's there.
Thank you. I assume, therefore, there are minimum standards that need to be adhered to, however. Thank you.
Any other members? Hearing none. And anyone from the public on item number 11? Okay, we are now. Oh, I didn't see. Thought they were just walking out the door. If you could just state your name, and you got to stand on this little rug right here. And the mic. There's 3 requirements: the rug, the mic, and state your name and address.
On the X.
Thanks. My name is Amy Crawford. I'm a Riverfield parent and serve as the PTA past president of our school. Today, the RSBC is requesting initial funding, and I ask for your continued support and efficiency with respect to our building project. Those who have visited our school have a clear understanding as to the urgency of our situation and that our current facilities no longer, even unsatisfactorily, meet the needs of our students. With cafeteria refrigeration units in our corridors, special services being administered in closets and in hallways, lunch lines absorbing substantial time of children's lunch allotment, students exiting and entering school property daily to utilize modular space, and all school assemblies violating maximum capacity recommendations, just to name a few, the need for renovation and expansion is not a want, but a need. And it is not a project for tomorrow, but today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You can just hand over the baton or put it down. Oh, okay. Moral support, I like that. Any other members of the public? Come back to the body. Any other members of the body? We should address item number 11. Hearing none, we're now going to vote, the voice vote. All those in favor, item number 11, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The item passes. Okay, Representative Meyer, abstention, right? Okay, moving on to item number 12, to hear, consider, and act upon the redistricting ordinance in accordance with 9-169 of the Connecticut General Statutes as recommended by the RTM Redistricting Committee. My understanding, there was no action taken anywhere, and therefore this item is not to be dealt with tonight. So, we're going on to item number 13, to consider and act upon any other matters presented to said meeting and which may be properly acted upon under the rules of the representative town meeting. There is a request for a moment of personal privilege. Is that right? Well, you have to do it through a moment of personal privilege, which you had requested earlier by Representative Becker. Otherwise, you got to do.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. David Becker, District 1. This is the sense of the body resolution relating to the First Selectmen's Building Committee Process Review Committee item that was brought to all of the joint subcommittee meetings last week. So it's going to be done as a sense of the body. I'd emailed it out to the body, the moderator, and the clerk last night. So I'm going to read through this, and it's also been handed out to everybody, and we should have enough copies for the public as well. So it's going to be written as, whereas the First Selectmen's Building Committee Process Review Committee has proposed a new approval timeline for the Town of Fairfield's annual capital improvement projects, and whereas the proposed timeline will be implemented on a trial basis for the fiscal year 13-14 budget season, and whereas the proposed timeline is as follows: Board of Education, presentation September, vote October or November; Board of Selectmen, presentation December, vote January; Board of Finance, presentation January, vote February; Representative Town Meeting, presentation January for the booklet, vote February. And now therefore be it the sense of the body, of this body, to concur with the proposed timeline. Thank you.
It's a sense of,
And this is being proposed as a sense of the body.
yeah, I just need a second on the motion. Representative Bateson. We can have discussion on it. Is there discussion right now on this? Representative Stamler?
Sorry? While I certainly support the movement to review and to revise the process regarding these projects, I am somewhat at a loss to either support or not support this timeline because I don't know the context. I have some questions about it in particular, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable. I have no reason to say no, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable giving any opinion without any sense of what the committee is doing around this. So I don't know if tonight is the appropriate time for the committee to comment around this, or whether I should simply say that absent other discussion, I will abstain in regard to this because I don't have any clear sense one way or another. Thank you.
Any other members? Representative Bateson?
Ed Bateson, District 3. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's my impression that what this committee's doing, I haven't been to any of the meetings. I don't know what they're doing. So
what your impression is?
I'm thinking that what you're doing is since non-recurring capital is in the budget, you're looking for a way to address it before we talk about the budget. Is that correct?
Thank you. There are two separate issues here, and I think this is one small piece that we tried to carve out. This has been a topic of discussion at the Board of Finance level for at least 3 years now. And what we try to do is get rid of the bottleneck in March and April at the RTM level, where we've had a lot of discussion on non-recurring capital items. We're trying to do that better so there's less discussion, but we still want to allow for that. And also get the budget passed, and we cram them into the same meetings in those 2 months. So we have slowly tried to move that back. This year we moved it 1 month earlier. We have looked at the fact that when we approve non-recurring projects is independent of our approval of the operating budget. Totally independent. So we said, great, since there is no critical date, we don't have to approve them by March 15th to get them into the budget for this year. Let's look at doing them. And we looked at moving them to the fall for a couple of reasons. One, that gets them way away from the operating budget, so this body, as well as the other bodies, can spend the appropriate amount of time. And if so desired, to postpone them a month to get further information or consider them further. In addition, the staff working on these projects, both the Board of Ed staff and the town staff, are not tied up with the operating budget. So it balances workload a little better than what we're doing now. So that's it. Independent of anything else, this has been a discussion for 3 years now. This committee was the first just to move it forward. What we've done is asked the RTM representatives on the committee to come back to this body and say, is it okay with you if we do this, or let you know we're doing it? We went back to the Board of Selectmen. We reviewed it there. The Board of Finance will do it there. The Board of Ed will do it there. On this committee, we have David Becker and Hal Schwartz from the RTM, Jim Brown from the Board of Finance, Al Kelly from the TFC, myself from the Board of Selectmen, Dr. Title from Central Office, Phil Dwyer from Board of Ed. So we basically have a cross-functional team that's looking at building projects and the building project process. One of the questions we get is, when do we go out to bid? Do we go out to bid in step 2? Do we go out to bid in step 9? Why do we do things this way? There are some things we're required to do on projects where we're getting state reimbursement that we're not required to do on projects where we don't, say a Penfield. So we wanted to take time to lay out the steps so we'd all understand and we could easily communicate it out to the various bodies. Here's why we're doing these things in that step. The other piece was to look at the non-recurring projects and kind of decide how we want to look at those. This is step 1, just in terms of getting this, breaking out the schedule and giving us time to look at those when there's more time to talk about it. Did that help?
Yeah, thank you. Quick follow-up to Representative Stamler. I know where you're coming from. When I first heard this thing, I was just like, yeah, I don't like putting into writing a process that is already in writing. Or changing it. I was kind of guarded when this first came up, and I'm kind of on the fence of how I feel about it. I think I like what we've done the past couple of years where we've advanced the timing on the capital and non-recurring because it made it more of a relevant discussion prior to the RTM budget vote, which that night turned several years ago was chaotic, trying to get through those 6 or 7 items that were on there. I like where we're going with the process. I like this as being a sense of the body resolution because it's essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not binding, right?
There's no implication of this vote other than just what you guys think.
Right, and I was kind of led to believe that the other bodies, or the consensus of this committee was to go this route to see how we felt about it. I don't object to the fact that we're advancing the timeline. The only thing I want to say to the other boards is, to the Board of Selectmen, the First Selectman, the Board of Finance, or the Board of Ed, do not let the timeline dictate it. If you guys need help, Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, Board of Education, if, let's say you have a couple members that have reservations, you want to refer it to the TFC, by all means, hold up the process. This does not surrender my feeling that the timeline is going to dictate everything. Common sense is going to dictate everything, not the timeline. If you need more questions answered, put the brakes on and start referring it out and hold the process up. That's the way I feel. I mean, I don't have a problem with what this is saying, but I don't want to get into the mode of having a timeline dictate our actions.
And Mr. Basin, if I might, just to your point, normally one of the pressures I was under when I served on this body and at the Board of Finance was the old, if you don't approve it tonight, then we're going to lose a whole year. When we look at it in January or February for this body, earlier for the other bodies, we can delay it a month, and we don't lose a whole year, we just lose a month. So part of what we're trying to do there is just address that point, take some of the time pressure off. So if we need more time, we have time to do that extra research. If we need a second opinion, we can get that second opinion.
Any other members? Okay. Okay, so we're just going to vote on this. Again, it means nothing other than just our opinion on the issue. It's not binding or does not commit us to anything. So we're going to do a sense of the body vote right now. All those in favor of this motion, sense of the body motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, if you raise hands, opposed. Representative Dean. Abstentions. Representative Abercrombie. Representative Marks. Representative McCullough. Representative Stamler. Representative Ambrose. And Representative Hochberg. Is that it? Oh, that's right, Matt Ambrose. Be very clear about that. Absolutely. Since the body motion passes. Now, the next meeting, we're still deciding, usually, as we've done in the past, is one of the summer meetings is canceled, July or August. We don't know quite yet which one that will be, because it depends on some items coming up. We should know in the next few days, or certainly within the next week, and I'll inform you all, and then you can enjoy a month off. May I have a motion to adjourn? Representative Ambrose Sr. Representative Lee, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Mr. Sundman, yes.